Hey guys, Joey Shanks here once again. In this week's episode, I'm going to talk about a few tips and suggestions on how to help your workflow better when you're editing and you're doing stuff around your studio. For 2015, I'm going to be trying to put out an episode every Wednesday, which is a lot more than I'm used to putting out. So a lot of the episodes this year are going to be based around practical stuff around your studio, gear, stuff just to improve your everyday workflow for being a videographer or filmmaker. Let's just go over some helpful tips that I think are important and overlooked a lot of times when setting up your studio, your computer, your editing environment, and so forth. So let's get into that. Okay, so you can see my setup here where I have 3 screens. That's because I use a Mac and a PC. But I'm going to just go over what you guys might want to consider doing if you have a laptop. Now you see my laptop here is lined up nicely with my external monitor. Now, it's like that because I have a sandbag behind the computer, and I gaffed down some gaffer's tape for it to catch onto and not fall, and it makes for a nice positioning of the monitor to use as a dual screen monitor. Okay, and this is what it looks like with it just flat on the table. It doesn't really jive as well with our external monitor. And this is another thing that I think people also never bring in an extra keyboard to separate themselves from their laptop keyboard. So also I wanted to talk a little bit about the cables that we use that go into our monitors and the resolutions that you get out of them. Now, a misconception is that HDMI is the best cable there is, and that can be furthest from the truth. It's great because it's very simple, they're getting cheaper every day, and they transfer audio through that. But for resolution-wise, you're only going to get a 1920 by 1080 aspect ratio and resolution from an HDMI cable. And I see a lot of people who have really nice monitors using HDMI cables, and they're not maxing out the resolution of what they could be getting. So you want to be using either a display video cord, which looks like this. Looks kind of like an HDMI in, but it's a little bit different. Or a DVI, which looks like this. Now don't get it mixed up with a VGA, because that's lower than HDMI. Okay, so this is my PC here, and I was lucky enough to win my fantasy football league, so I had some extra money over Christmas, and I wanted to get a little bit more memory or RAM on my PC. So what I originally had was 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is good, which is decent for video editing and graphics, and I'd recommend trying to have at least 8 if you're going to be video editing and doing graphics work. 2 gigabytes of stick for 8. So I wanted to double mine and get 16. So I went and I got this Corsair, which are pretty good quality ones, and these are 8 gigabytes a piece, which is 16 gigs. But the one thing a lot of people make the mistake of doing is, so I have these 2 8 gigabyte sticks in here, and I put them in, but I also have these extra slots here. So a lot of people will fill it up with the remaining memory they had. So I would have 4 extra spots. I could put these 4 in, which would give me a total of 24 gigabytes. Now your computer is only going to go as fast as your slowest card. So these cards are a lot slower than these. So it's better just to keep these in with 16 gigs of RAM as opposed to putting 24 gigs of RAM in, and these are only going to be probably at half the speed. So a lot of people make the mistake of doing that. Pretty easy on how to put these in. For those of you with Apple laptops, check to see how much RAM you have on your computer and what the maximum capacity of RAM can be. My 2011 MacBook Pro had 4 gigabytes of RAM on it, but it had a maximum capacity of 8 gigabytes. So I ordered 2 4 gigabyte sticks of RAM online. It was really easy, and it doubled the speed of my computer just like that. Okay, for my next suggestion is for those After Effects users out there. I'm not sure how many people use your disk catch, but I think it's something that people should use because it's going to improve your render time and your overall workflow and performance in After Effects. Now what you need to do is have a high-speed thumb drive, high-speed SD card, something that's meant to handle video or large data, and you're going to assign that to your media cache folder. And to do that, you open up After Effects, you go to Preferences, Media, and Disk Cache. As you can see, it stores it in your library drive, and it even recommends for improved performance, choose a disk cache folder on a fast hard drive or SSD separate from your footage. So we're going to do that. So let's choose a folder. We're going to go to our SD card we put in, and we need to make a folder in here and call it Proxy. So now we'll hit choose and hit OK. So that's just something to get into a good habit of doing that, like I said, will improve your performance and your overall workflow. And here is a little teaser of what we have in store for next week's episode.
Now, I know you've heard this before.
I've been experimenting a lot with 3D camera tracking in After Effects and trying to incorporate model planes and digital 3D elements into the same composition. I think there's a lot of interesting possibilities with this technique. So look for that next Wednesday. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Joey Shanks, and I'm out.